Just like a vertebrae, we are going back. We're going back to a few things. Well, I'm going back to a few things. But also West Ham are going back to a few things. We're going back to the January transfer window, back to transfer rumours, back to me doing scouting report videos, lucky you, and also back to doing my channel intro. So let's roll those titles to remind you what it actually looks like. And, by the way, this took me about 2 hours to make, so watch the whole intro. Now that the transfer window is back open and things are up and running, I want to get the scouting report videos done a lot quicker than usual, because as we know, things can change very quickly, rumours can change very quickly, and for that reason I want to get this done ASAP. We're starting off with the defenders and notably centre-backs, because West Ham needs to add more centre-backs in. I think we have one of the oldest defensive cores in the Premier League. There are a lot of our best players in that defensive unit are over the age of 30. And I think we need to look at younger players to bring in that we can bring in for a longer run. And the players that are found, as per usual with these scouting report videos, 5 players that I've written notes about. They're not exactly well-known players, I don't think, but they are hidden gems in my opinion. I'm going to talk about each one and give the 2 that I would sign if I were David Moyes. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with King Min-Jae, a South Korean international who is 25 years old and is in his first season with Turkish Super League club Fenerbahce. This is a guy who spent a lot of his career playing in Asia before he transferred over to a European league. And before he signed for Fenerbahce, he was targeted by a few clubs in Western Europe, one of which was Juventus. He's known in South Korea as Chomul, which is the South Korean word for monster, because it directly suits his style of play as a centre-back. He's known for his aggressive defending, but other than that, I think that he's a defender that suits an attacking system, like West Ham's. He's known for his long passes and likes to be involved in counter-attacks. He likes to start them from the back. As soon as he's won a ball back, he's immediately looking up and thinking about where he can distribute it. So he's a type of defender that's one step ahead. However, I have 2 criticisms. One, he's not to be confused with the South Korean actor and rapper who coincidentally shares the same name. There's about a 10-year age gap between them. 2, more importantly to do with football, I don't know what he's going to be like playing in a more high-intensity league like the Premier League. I don't know how he's going to be. And it seems that he's been moving quite quickly throughout his career at the age of 25 and needs to settle down somewhere before he can move elsewhere. I want to point out as well, Tottenham Hotspur actually scouted this guy at one point. I think they were right to lay off on him for a little bit, because I don't think he's quite ready for the Premier League. That said, he has a lot of good defensive qualities, and the fact that he likes to think ahead and play the game one step ahead is something that's actually quite unique about him. If there's ever been a teenage Swiss prodigy that's trying to live up to a hype, it's 19-year-old Swiss international defender Bećir Omeragić. He idolises Sergio Ramos and is self-confessed Sergio Ramos fan. I personally think that he's my favourite defender of my time growing up. I love Sergio Ramos and I've got a jersey with his name on the back. But the one difference between Ramos and Omeragić is not just age. It's Omeragić is a player who can play as a right back or as a right wing back. He's a good dribbler of the ball and he's known for being able to find space. And carrying the ball from the back is something that a lot of teams tend to do, actually, these days in the sport. The dribbling from the back, it helps with ball movement, it helps to gain ground, and Omeragić is really good at that. He's a promising young player in Swiss football. He's playing for Zurich right now, and he's tipped to have a very bright future. I think that his dribbling ability and his versatility as a defender make him stand out. And I think he's the kind of player, a multi-role player, that David Moyes would like to have in the West Ham team. Omeragić has also previously played as a winger in his younger days, and that's because of his dribbling ability. And attacking fullbacks is what David Moyes likes in his team, and Omeragić could play in that role, because we kind of need to look at right-backs as well, and we need to look at centre-backs, of course, hence why I'm doing this video. So why not get one player who can do both? Here's someone that has been previously linked with West Ham, but he's going in here because I like him and actually was going to talk about him at some point in January anyway. Another Fenerbahce player, Attila Szalai, a 23-year-old Hungarian who admires Thiago Silva and is often referred to as the Hungarian Virgil van Dijk. He's known for his leadership in defence, his aerial ability, and his vision as a defender. He tends to play in a back three quite often, and this might have some problems for West Ham, but it shouldn't be, because he knows how to pass around a backline. He likes to help out his fullbacks by passing with them and interchanging with them. So that's something that actually strikes me about him. He doesn't really like to keep possession of the ball, with that said, and he passes forward a lot. And it's very rare, actually, you get a defender who really retains possession these days. Szalai does not do that. He's a very promising player who gained notoriety and attention through the Euros that just passed. And he would be very suited to life in England because he's a well-travelled player. He's been and seen lots of different cultures within his playing career. And, more to the point, he speaks fluent English, having learnt it as a teenager. Most of his interviews that he does with Fenerbahce's official YouTube channel are done in English. Well, Turkish with an English interpreter. But he speaks very clearly and confidently. He seems a very intelligent young man. And as a defender, he's looking to be quite optimistic. He thinks Hungary's starting to rebuild its team with him in it as well. And he likes to improve. He admits at times that he's not the perfect package. He admits that he's got to improve on a few things. But having said that, he is a very promising player, as I say, and someone who, again, passes a ball efficiently. Not just with his back line, but the fact is, he wants to get the ball moving to help his team go forward. Matteo Gabbia is a centre-back who plays for AC Milan. He's 22 years old and has gone through quite the physical transformation over the years. Having initially started his career as a defensive midfielder and even a central midfielder, he converted to a centre-back while he was playing for Milan's academy. And for this reason, he's actually known for being quite versatile. If I were to compare him to a player in the West Ham team, I'd have to say Alex Král. Although we have not seen too much of the latter, we see someone who's quite neat and tidy. And Gabbia is a neat and tidy player. He's quite easygoing with the flow of the game, which in turn could cause problems for him, because we need to have players who are switched on. Gabbia tends to just go with the flow of the game and make his mark when he has to, which is still respectable. But versatility is the one thing that David Moyes likes a lot in a player. As someone who can play as a defensive mid wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Moyes has been known to change players and put them in different positions. He's done it with Lanzini very recently, and look what that's done to him. So Gabbia might be a good defensive mid or a central midfield option. That said, naturally he's a centre-back as well. So it's about finding that balance, and I would like Gabbia to possibly become a West Ham player, because I think that he'd be good to play in either midfield or central defence, but I don't know where exactly he would be placed. And that will be up to the manager to decide, given the information that I have just said. Anel Ahmedhodžić is the last player to feature in my scouting report for centre-backs. He's Bosnian. He plays for Malmo in the Swedish Allsvenskan, and he's 22 years old. He's not a name that you may be familiar with, but he's another potentially highly rated talent in European football. Anel Ahmedhodžić has been playing professionally in Sweden for quite some time now, and he recorded a pass accuracy of 79% last season. He's a player who switches between retaining possession and playing the ball forward depending on the situation. So, with that said, I can infer that he's good at his decision making. And given that the defence is often the last line where the ball crosses from an attacking point of view, he needs to be sure as to what he's going to do with the ball, whether he's going to commit to a tackle, whether he's going to put pressure on a player, whether another player could receive the ball from either side. He's that kind of player who reads the game as well. And as I look at my notes, his passing accuracy is something that strikes me a lot. In fact, as I look at all of these players, all of them are known for having good passing ability. Ahmedhodžić is no exception to that. When you look at his statistics for this league, it's actually quite high. I don't care that it's just a Swedish league. 79% pass accuracy in any league is something quite impressive and something to gloat about. And he can rightly do so. And with all this said, actually deciding who I want to choose as my two centre-back choices was very difficult. But Ahmedhodžić was certainly taken into consideration while I was recording this video. It has been a tough decision on this centre-back scouting report. And I am going to have to make a few tough decisions when it even comes to this whole process. Honestly, if I have to choose two players, the most no-brainer for me will be Attila Szalai, because I think he's got a lot of qualities that would suit the Premier League, with his physicality, his passing, and his need to be in an attacking team. And also another player who I've thrown out here, I'm going to put in this as my second choice, is Bećir Omeragić. And the reason being because he can play 3 different positions, and he's good at finding space. But this wasn't easy. It might sound like a difficult video. It wasn't easy to make my choices. So I've got to say Szalai and Omeragić both have an Eastern European connection. Both have that solidity about them. And I feel at West Ham we have quite a big Eastern European community within the squad, and all of those players bode well together. The Czechs with the Ukrainian and the Polish. So we can add a Swiss of Bosnian descent and a Hungarian into the mix. And what I find about these Eastern European players is the very hard-working mentality. They've got that real tough nut aggression about them. And this is why I choose Szalai and Omeragić. I think they would be solid options for West Ham. And they're both young and can be developed with years to come. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Scouting Report. I'm glad to be back doing this. If you liked the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Take care, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, and I will see you all soon.